Welcome to my channel where a crazy HOA cop gets put in his place. Our next Reddit post is from a user. So I live in an HOA community in Florida with my wife and 3 daughters. One of my daughters came home from college for Thanksgiving break. She was planning to stay for a few days before heading back to school. We have a community pool, and because of recent rains, there was a lightning storm that evening, so it was closed. My daughter, not knowing this, went to go use the pool, and because it was closed, she got a trespass warning and was almost arrested by our HOA cops. For those of you that don't know, a trespass warning is basically a warning that if you commit another offense, you will be arrested. Now, my daughter immediately called me, and when I arrived at the pool, I asked what happened, and they told me that my daughter violated the rules by swimming in the closed pool and that she would be arrested if she did it again. I told them that it was just a warning and that it was no big deal. They said that it was a big deal, and that they were going to arrest her if she didn't leave. At this point, I asked them to clarify. They said that they were going to arrest her for trespassing. I then asked if they were going to actually put her in handcuffs and take her to jail, to which they replied, yes. Now, I am getting pissed off at this point, and I am telling them that they are overstepping their authority. This is just a warning, and my daughter is a freaking college student. What are you gonna do? Put her in jail? That's ridiculous. Then one of the guards said, no, we're just gonna let you off with a warning this time. But if you do it again, we will definitely arrest you. Now, my blood is boiling at this point, and I am telling them that they have no right to threaten my daughter like that. Just then, my other daughter comes outside and starts recording the interaction with her phone. The guard sees her recording and tells her to delete the video or else Ella arrest her. My other daughter says, sure thing, pops the video and keeps recording. At this point, I decide to end the conversation and head back inside. I grab my gun and holster and head back out. The HOA cop sees me with my holstered pistol and points his finger like a gun at me and tells me to put my gun away. I tell him that I have a concealed carry permit, and he doesn't have the authority to tell me what I can do with my own firearm. He then tells me that if I point my gun at him, that'll be considered assault with a deadly weapon, and I'll go to jail. Now I'm pissed and I start yelling at this guy that he has no authority here. He's basically threatening me, trying to intimidate me. And then he throws out the, if you point your gun at me, you'll go to jail, and I don't have a problem with that. I've been charged with assault with a deadly weapon before and spent a night in jail. I had my day in court and everything was thrown out because the charges were unfounded. But I'm not looking to spend another night in jail over this petty bullshit. And then I say to the HOA cop, please feel free to call the cops. If you want to waste their time, go ahead. I don't care. Then I ask him again, are you really going to arrest my daughter for swimming in a pool that was closed because of the lightning storm? He replies, yes, I will. At this point, I decided to play dumb. I asked him to repeat after me, are you really going to arrest my daughter for swimming in a pool that was closed due to bad weather? He replied, yes. I then said loudly so that everyone around could hear, well, that sounds like police brutality to me. This HOA cop literally pointed a gun at me and threatened to shoot me if I pointed my gun at him, and then he also threatened to arrest my daughter for trespassing. I then asked him, are you sure you want to do this? He replies, yes. So I took out my cell phone, started recording and said, okay buddy, you win. I guess I'll just have to post this on YouTube. Now, I don't know if he understood what he was getting himself into, but he kept insisting that he wanted to arrest my daughter. So I posted the video online. Within a few hours, I got a call from the HOA president asking what happened. I explained everything to him, and he apologized for the HOA cops' behavior. He said that he was going to have a meeting with all the HOA cops, and that they were never authorized to use guns while on duty. The next day I get a call from the sheriff's department. It turns out that the HOA cop contacted them about me threatening him with a gun and that I assaulted him by pointing a gun at him. The deputy that called me informed me that the HOA cop had given a written statement about the incident, but that the story was completely fabricated. According to the HOA cop, I was cursing and yelling and waving my gun around, and then I pointed it directly at his face. The deputy told me that he believed me and not the HOA cop. The deputy asked if I wanted to press charges for filing a false police report, but I told him no. Filing criminal charges for a false police report is a felony charge, and I just wanted this whole mess to go away. The deputy said that he agreed with me that the HOA cop was full of BS. He said that he was going to talk to the HOA and make sure that they knew that their HOA cop lied to the police and tried to frame me for a crime. The HOA president called me back a couple of days later and told me that they had fired the HOA cop on the spot. He also told me that they were very sorry about what happened and that their HOA would be paying for my attorney fees. Well, it turns out that my daughter had posted the video on Facebook, and a friend of hers saw the video and sent it to her parents. The parents of her friend happened to have a son that was in Navy SEALs training, and they sent a video to him to see if he could remove the audio and see if he could figure out who the HOA cop was. Her friend was able to identify the HOA cop and then used the HOA cop's social media to find his address. Meanwhile, my daughter had been talking to her friend about her dad being a retired law enforcement officer and how he always carried his gun. Her friend was shocked and thought that this might be the same dad, because her dad was also retired law enforcement, and then her friend recognized the name of the HOA. It turns out that their dads were friends, and they lived in the same neighborhood. So her friend goes to her dad and tells him about this HOA cop and the crazy story and shows him the video. Her dad watches the video and recognizes his friend's voice. He calls up his friend and asks him, "What's going on with this HOA drama?" Her dad's friend explains everything to him. Then her dad says, "Wait a minute, are you the HOA cop?" He tells her dad, "Yes, I am." Her dad then says, "Okay, buddy, I'm not going to press charges against you for trying to frame me, but I am going to tell you that your career is over. You have less than honorable discharge coming to you, and nobody in this town is ever going to hire you as a law enforcement officer again. Oh, and by the way, my daughter is a Navy SEAL trainer." The HOA cop didn't know that either. She had enlisted right out of high school, and her dad didn't even know it until she came home for Thanksgiving break. The HOA cop quit the next day and hasn't been heard from since. That was insane. I love a happy ending, but damn, that escalated quickly. Have you ever had something crazy happen with your HOA? Let us know your story in the comments. Then check out my podcast where OP updates us on the latest stories.